This is Rob Carbone, and you're listening to BD4.
Here's Barrett from shaking big. Hits a three. That's eyes in the crowd with Barrett. 5 on the 24. Barrett previously in the air ball. The drive, the land. That's a hole. Gets it back, keeps it out. Barrett for three. RJ Barrett from downtown. Quick trigger three. Gets another triple. Looking for more. Smith to the buzzer. Let's go. Smith from way downtown at the buzzer. No way you can overlook. Puts it in. They're on their feet in Madison Square Garden. Elliott to Ewing. They'll make the Garden more.
Patrick Ewing faced a double team, but still was able to hit.
The finish and the foul. Houston comes under. Got it. With 8 tenths left.
All right. Well, not much to talk about tonight. Really isn't. So much has not been going on. So little has been going on. We talked about a bunch of things these last 4 episodes. In this little binge of off-season draft talk. This is part 5 of that, episode 168. I'm your host, Rob Carbone of BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. There's not much. There's not much tonight. So this may be shorter than, the most recent episodes that have been 40, 35, 40 minutes or something. Hoping I can get this, under that, because there's only a couple things to talk about tonight. And one of them is one that I even said I wouldn't even bother to talk about. I said it in 167, so I said it in the last show. That there's no point in talking about it because it's unrealistic. It's, a fantasy scenario. Although if you're a diehard Knicks fan and not some younger Knicks fan who just pays attention to stats and cool highlights, it's probably not a fantasy situation for you or a rumor for you. And that's this whole Knicks pursuing Russell Westbrook via trade thing. So we're going to discuss that a bit. We're going to discuss a rumor that's kind of been out there for a little longer since the lottery, which is the Knicks possibly trading up in the draft for LaMelo Ball or maybe James Wiseman. Don't think those two will happen either, So again, an episode tonight that's probably not even worth it because this isn't going to happen. But I'm bored. Want to keep practicing this whole podcasting thing. They pay me. So I figured, you know what? Let's throw one out there. We'll see what happens. That's really it. There's, it's just boring shit. It's been so slow. Obviously, with nothing going on because of the whole virus. There's nothing you can really fucking talk about. Normally we would be getting ready for the preseason. It will be starting up in a couple days, maybe already under normal circumstances, but we've got to wait to December, and we're going to have another shortened season in the NBA. Which, you know what? Looking back, I know it's easy to say looking back, but it fucking sucks, dude. I wish they would have just done it's difficult, but now you're going to have 2 seasons that are out of the norm compared to the rest. I mean, it's fucking stupid. I hate it. Oh, man, I just wish we can go back to normal. I wish they would have scrapped this one and just gone with a full 82 next year. But, considering where we are, that was never going to happen regardless. So, again, they're doing the best with where we are. Late December it's looking like late December, early January for the 2021 season. Yeah, sports has been weird this year, man. It's just a fake season for all sports, honestly. It's all fake. I mean, neutral sites, no crowd, 3-month layoffs, some rule changes, some major rule changes, a lot of gimmicky ideas tossed out there and toyed with in a lot of these sports. So I can't take it serious. I laugh at it. It was fun to get it back, to have a distraction from all this. But looking at it now, it's just going to come with not one giant asterisk, but, a bunch of asterisks next to it, because I don't fucking see this as legit. It's just so different from the norm, especially with baseball, but the NBA too, going to some bullshit, I'm not even going to say the B word because I can't fucking stand it. And if I hear anybody else say the word bubble one more fucking time, I'm going to flip shit. It's just all so weird and bizarre. Shaq said it, It ain't real. The baseball one ain't real either. Shit. I don't know how they did it with hockey. Don't watch a ton of hockey, but it's just, it all feels so fake and plastic. You should give him a plastic trophy. That's what you should get. You should get a plastic trophy. Because if you win, you still get something, but it's not the same. Better than nothing. I don't fucking know, man. Talking out of my ass. Watching Halloween H2O. Resurrection just ended. There's been so many of these Halloween movies. The Braves playing right now? Or the Astros first? Let's see. Gosh, I hope... Fucking Houston, of course it was Correa too. Walking off last night. And I hate the Rays. I can't root for the Rays. But I can't root for the Astros. Sure as shit can't do that. So I'm going for the NL this season. Not a Dodgers guy. Hate the Dodgers. And I also hate the fucking Braves. I don't really know why I don't like the Braves, but I just don't. But I'm going to have to pull for one of them over the two American League teams who I hate with a fucking burning passion. And the one thing that bothers me, we'll get into the episode in a second, but the one thing that really fucking bothers me is when you watch these games and you listen to the booth, on TBS or whatever, FS1, whenever the Astros play, wherever they fucking play, on a night-to-night basis, they're never fucking talking about the cheating scandal. They're still respecting these guys. They're talking about them. They're talking them up. They're talking them up. It's fucking... It's disturbing. I think disturbing is the right word. It's as if this never happened. It's as if these are these classy guys who never cheated. I mean, what the fuck? Have some balls. Talk down to it. Well, fuck professionalism. I would be ripping them on the broadcast. I wouldn't be giving them the praise at least. You don't want to rip them, whatever. Don't praise them 24-7. Shit, it's disgusting to fucking listen to. All right. Let's get this one over with. Again, should be a short one. Do I not ramble on? So let's head to break, and when we get back, we will get into things here. All right. All right, fellas. So really quick, I just want to remind you that if you haven't subscribed to my podcast on the many different platforms that I'm on, you can do so right now. And all you got to do to that is go to my website. Just go to nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. Once again, in order to subscribe to the podcast and listen to the podcast or watch it on the many platforms we have, go to my website at nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. So, yeah, since the lottery, since the Knicks found out they would be getting number 8 in this year's class, the whole trading up rumor, began right away. Don't think they will. They could. It's a possibility, but I don't think they will. But if they do, the two names that have been talked about and discussed amongst the Knicks organization have been LaMelo Ball, of course. Expected to go 1 or 2, the latest. And James Wiseman, another one up there, the top 4. I would say no later than 4. And, that I guess we'll start with Ball. The Knicks get what they need. They get their playmaker. And, potentially, possibly a guy with talent who could be an all-star someday. If he pans out. If they were to do something like that, first of all, let me start off by saying I don't think it's worth it. So they should not do it. But again, multiple reports have said that LeVar Ball confirms that LaMelo has the Knicks as a preferred destination. Indications by Ball's camp also say that the Knicks are one of just 2 teams so far who have interviewed with the kid, over Zoom. So, if their interest is legit, and it's as real as the rumors say, which is never usually true, but fuck it. If it's true, if the rumors are legit. By the way, Zoom is probably making fucking bank. I mean, shit. Just during this whole quarantine, not even with sports, but just overall, how much fucking money do you think they just... Man, they probably just tripled what they were earning previously to this. Maybe more. I'm sure they're fucking booming right now. But if the Knicks were to trade up for a LaMelo Ball, you can most definitely, and I'm not even saying maybe, you can most definitely say goodbye to, an RJ Barrett or a Mitchell Robinson. One of your 2 building blocks is definitely guaranteed to go. That's who you're trading to get to that spot. So you give one of them up. Who's LaMelo Ball passing to? Because those 2 guys are really your only 2, the only 2 building blocks who you could see a good future with, right? They're not guarantees, but you could see there's something there. So you're going to have to lose one of them. Who's he passing to? Who's he playmaking with? I just don't think it's worth it. Because Ball himself is not a... again, this is a different story, 2020. This isn't a draft class where, like 19, where you had 3 or 2 guys, or 3, yeah. You had Zion, you had Morant, and then you had Barrett. 3 guys who, very well could be all-stars someday. You don't have that. In this class, there's not one guy you could look at and say he'll very well be an all-star. LaMelo Ball, a lot of people look at him as boom or bust. The shooting isn't there yet, and if it does come, it won't be right away. The defensive commitment, not great. So, he's a very risky guy to trade up for and give up one of your few building blocks for. It's just not worth it. So, I'll pass on that. If we're not going to land the number 1 pick in the lottery, we have to say goodbye to Ball. Give up on that dream. You're not trading Barrett for him. Barrett, as much as you guys want to shit on Barrett, 19-year-old kid came into the league averaging 15, 5, and 3. About. Come on. He was fine. He wasn't great. He wasn't, very good. He was up and down, sure. But I think there was more good than bad towards the end there. He really got hot in the second half. And overall, though, I would say I saw more good than I saw bad. I wouldn't trade him. I think he's got a good future. He's got some flaws to fix, of course. But I think he's got a good future here, and I wouldn't trade him for LaMelo Ball. This just doesn't make sense. You don't replace a guy who showed talent with a guy who you don't know anything, about yet in the NBA. James Wiseman, I don't see this one happening at all. Unless the Knicks are really losing faith in Mitchell Robinson, which, I don't think they are. I don't think they are at all. I guess we'll find out soon because he's supposed to be a UFA in 2022. Do we not extend him before that? But, the Wiseman one, it would obviously mean if the Knicks were to do it, it would be Mitchell Robinson to go, right? I'm pretty sure they wouldn't just keep him and trade a Barrett or, a Barrett for the Wiseman pick. You're not going to keep two interior-minded bigs on the same squad. That's not happening. That wouldn't work. You can't just put 2 5s on the same floor. It's not like one of them is a 4. Neither of them can stretch the floor. Wiseman may flash a jumper here and there, but it's not nearly NBA ready yet. I think he took one three-pointer in his limited time at college. I don't know. He's not a stretch. Nobody considers him a stretch. So there's no spacing on that floor if you do combine those two together. So you're going to give up Mitch if you're going to try to get that Wiseman pick. And again, another scenario where I just wouldn't do it. Don't draft a player to replace one of your few talented players. It's a waste, right? Draft a player to replace, a scrub. Go after a guy who's talented but also fills a void. Don't replace Robinson with a guy you hope is as good, if not better than Robinson. Because Robinson's one of your few good players. You're the Knicks. You don't have many good players. You can't afford risking losing another one for a guy who might not or might be better. It's just too risky, this whole trading up thing. The trading down shit I can deal with, right? That's easier. You get shit in return. And it's a draft where, it's a crapshoot of a draft. So you can trade down all day. We talked about that in previous episodes. But trading up in this draft, nah, man. Let's talk about Russell Westbrook. We'll be right back. I'm on a few different social media platforms today. If you want to follow my Instagram account, follow @RobJCarbone. If you want to follow my Facebook or Twitter account, follow @NY Sports Talk RC. I just fucking forgot to mute the mic while I was doing that advertisement, so I'm sorry if the volume was a little louder than it should have been, but we're good. This fucking software that I use is so slow ever since I updated it. Westbrook. Why is this so slow? If you're listening to the podcast, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but here we go. If you're watching, you can see it. It's just so incredibly slow. Russ Westbrook, former Thunder, current Rocket, potential Knick. No, don't see it happening, but I don't want it happening. Sure, if the Knicks would get their point guard, their playmaker, their scorer, their star player, definitely. Definitely get that. But no, sure, you'll be competitive with the Nets in the division, but how good and how long will you be good, right? This is one of those moves, again, where you don't just star chase right away. You got to set your foundation. You got to do that first. You got to set your foundation before you start star hunting. Not the opposite, and that's what has killed the Knicks over all these years, right? Trading away all their complementary pieces for Melo, the Stoudemire thing. You gotta set your core before you get a star. And trading for Westbrook, not even picking him up in your free agency, just makes no sense. So I think giving up your assets, You're going to give up, again, another situation where you would likely have to give up a Barrett or a Robinson. So why would you leverage your entire future? RJ plus for, just to become a 7 or 8 seed who's going to leave early in the fucking first round every season. Because that's who Westbrook is. He never gets the job done. Put him on a Knicks squad who's not good around him. He won't get past that first round. He'll get you to the playoffs. He's a star. He'll get you to the playoffs. But he's not a superstar. He's not great. He's not a champion. He's not a winner. He's not going to take a losing team like the Knicks far. He'll get them to the playoffs where they haven't gone in 7 years. But he won't get them anywhere past that. And it'll just be a continuing trend. Especially giving up, a lot of your, a big part of your team in RJ or Robinson. And it's just a ridiculous cost financially. Going to have to pay that Supermax. There are 3 years left on that Supermax. $132 million in total. It's got a third-year option, but in that third year, you're going to have to pay him $50 million at the age of 34. So if I'm the Knicks and I'm asking for Westbrook, which I wouldn't again, but if I was, I would ask for a whole lot more than just Russell Westbrook. And the problem with that, the Houston Rockets don't have many picks and assets to offer because they gave away those picks, those assets in the OKC trade to acquire Russell Westbrook. It's an easy no for anybody with a competent mind, I think. He could be a disaster here too, just another guy who can't shoot, inconsistent. His alpha style, while very fun, won't really help others develop. He's on the ball a lot of the time. Again, sure, he'll get you those triple doubles. He will make headlines in MSG for, scoring 40 points, putting up 10 boards, 15 assists. Might win you 40-plus games, get you to the playoffs again, but you're not going to go far. That's going to become tiring over and over and over. I can tell you that right now. Because that was the stage we were in from 2011 to 2013, 2014, right? Those 4-5 years right there, it was those scenarios where the Knicks got to the playoffs, but they could never advance too far. And that's what's going to happen with Westbrook. It reminds me very much of the Carmelo deal. And Carmelo, to me, was a more efficient player than Westbrook. In his prime. So I just don't. I don't like it, man. I don't like it. I don't love it. I don't like it. It's just not for me. And that's it. I think that's all we've got. You guys tell me, am I out of my mind for not wanting Russell Westbrook? For not wanting to pay the big buck and give up a bunch of assets for a guy who is going to be surrounded with little? Am I going crazy? Maybe. All right, let's get to the NYK question of the day. Guys, you're listening to BD4. I'm your host, Rob Carbone, and this is episode 168 of the podcast. Be sure to subscribe to BD4 on my website. Just go to nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect in order to subscribe. There's a page that takes you to that displays all my information. So subscribe first before you do anything else. All right, let's get to the NYK question of the day. Tell you what, man, I am seriously considering fucking changing software. Because this XSplit, and yes, I'll call them out, shit sucks. Fucking super slow. It's called XSplit. Horrible. Horrible. Maybe it's just my tablet not made for video editing, but it's annoying, dude. Ever since I updated this software, it's been slow, so I don't know. All right, tonight's episode 168. And in 168, this episode's NYK question of the day. I'm asking you, who was the last Knick to win an MVP? Oh, I'm sorry. MVP. Fucking before we get to this one, we of course have to give you the answer to the last one. I asked you last time out, how many blocks has Mitchell Robinson racked up so far in his young career? The answer to that is 280 blocks in 2 seasons. But yes, tonight's question, who was the last Knick to win an MVP award? Let me know the answer to that. Who was the last Knick to win an MVP award? Let me know the answer on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Preferably Facebook or Instagram today, being that I'm not on Twitter a lot. So reach me on Facebook at NY Sports Talk RC and on Instagram at Rob J. Carbone. Or you can just go to either one of those apps and type in RJ Carbone, and you'll find my page. All right, guys, that's it. That's all you got. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for tuning in, and that is it. We will see you in the next one. I don't know if I'm going to have an episode out tomorrow because, again, there's nothing else to talk about with the Knicks. I think we've covered all that has been going on, or not going on, rather. So I don't know how much we can go further until something legit happens. So we'll see. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for stopping by, and that's it. All right, guys. Ciao. This podcast is sponsored by Anchor.